You should be able to now. Maybe. It's weird. It was taking a second to go live. Refreshing here. Okay, we're good. Okay, I think we are ready now. Just some Monday morning internet drag here. All right. Good morning, everyone. We are so glad that for you to be here with us this morning. Sorry about the little bit of a delay. We had some internet trouble. My name is Kathleen Receiver, and I'm one of the digital innovation leaders in JCPS. And I'm joined today by some of my colleagues from the CDLI team, our ELA elementary folks with us. We have Dominique here this morning with us. Good morning, Dominique. And we also have Sandra Hogue here with us as well. Good morning, Sandra.
Good morning.
And
good morning.
We have Shamel, who's here with us from SAVVAS. So we're really excited this morning. Good morning, Shamel.
Good morning, everyone.
We're excited to have you here this morning for us as we kick off our SAVVAS training with our instructional team and our digital innovation team. And before we get started, I do want to show a quick video from Dr. Coleman.
I'm excited to kick off a series of trainings this week focused on the SAVVAS Realize digital curriculum and our resources here in JCPS. So, as you know, any resource that we use has to be viewed with a very critical eye to make sure it aligns to standards, to make sure it is aligned with our work in racial equity, and to make sure that it's appropriate for our students and the kinds of learning experiences we want for them. We certainly weren't anticipating the purchase of a digital curriculum, but the context we're in requires that we continue to think differently, and we hope that this product will help to ensure a level of equity for our students in the virtual context, as well as a good tool for you as teachers that can be modified as much or as little as you'd like. So I'm appreciative that our two teams have come together, and I think the sessions this week that you can watch live or recorded will be especially helpful moving forward. Thank you for all you're doing for our students, and please don't hesitate to reach out when you have questions or ideas even that would make this time even better for all of us. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Okay, go ahead and present the screen here. All right, ladies, are we ready?
Kathleen, we can't see, we don't see your screen. We still see you.
So in the bottom, you'll have to click on, you should see a picture in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
We see the faces of the four of us in the bottom.
Right, hold on 1 second. Okay, can you see it now?
No, we just see the little, like, JCPS digital icon.
I'm telling you what, it is Monday morning. Hold on 1 second.
It is.
All right, here we go.
We see it.
Yay, it's coming. Sorry about that.
No problem.
All right, so now let's go ahead. I'm going to present, and then let me turn on my closed captions real fast here. All right, we should be good to go.
Okay, good morning, guys. We're getting started in the SAVVAS platform. Shamet, would you like to start?
All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our session. We're going to be taking a look at the various components that you will find on the SAVVAS Realize platform. And let's see if we can progress the slides. So on this first slide, you're going to notice that with the team, we have incorporated different ways of looking at the materials to help you implement your standards, to help you implement your framework, and the instructional framework to support your students' learning of the standards. So today we're going to look at the SAVVAS Realize platform. And on the SAVVAS Realize platform, we will notice the landing page. Progress the slide, please. So welcome to the landing page under SAVVAS Realize. On the landing page, you will notice that you have a browse button, your classes, and your data. You will also notice that you have the My Library feature right up to the top of your page. There is a notifications bell, the question mark for help and training, and last but not least, the person icon where you can find the settings and the log out feature. You will also notice that the browse, classes, and data tabs are presented up at the top of the landing page. You can click on any of them to access your information. We will walk you through each one of the sections on the landing page. Okay, let's take a look at browsing your programs on the SAVVAS Realize platform. From the landing page, click on either Browse, and it will take you to the programs page where you can filter by grade, subject, and even favorites. So after you locate your program, now it is time to take a look at your classes and assignments. On your landing page, we see the word classes. Under classes, you're going to notice that the classes are assigned to you. Here you can see an example of a class in a close-up. Any assignments that you make to your class will show up right here under your assignments. Here's an example of a list of assignments for a class. You can review assignments by class. In this view, you can review one assignment for the entire class, or you can review assignments by student. The list shows all of the students and their assignments. This view provides a look at the work an individual student has completed. Back at the class view, you can also see assignments under the calendar. You will be able to view when assignments are due by taking a look at the calendar. Now we can take a look under students and groups. Under students and groups, you will see your student roster. You can ensure that all of your students have been rostered. Next, let's get ready to look at some data. Under the data tab, you will notice that you have all of your classes listed and you can review data by assignment. When you review by assignment, there are 3 sections: scores, progress, and usage. You can click on any bar to explore how well students have performed on any given assignment. The next section is progress. Under the progress tab, you will see the class completion percentage. The last section is the usage tab. Under usage, you can analyze how long students are taking to complete an assignment. So that was class results by assignment. Now let's take a look at class mastery by standard. Under this view, you can analyze results by standard and see how well students are working towards meeting a particular standard. You can zoom in on a student to review their results by the standards. So we shared some information about browse, classes, and data. Now let's talk about adding content to the SAVVAS Realize platform. You can add content by clicking on My Library. Under My Library, you can click Create Content. For example, you can upload a file. You will attach a file from your computer, Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. You can provide a title for your content. You may choose to add a description if you choose to, and then certify that you can distribute the material and then click Add. Your content will be added to your library. You can also think about adding a link. Let's say you found a great website with an article or even a video, and you want to share it with your students. You can click on the link and copy and paste the URL, add a title and description, then click Add the resource, and then it will be added to your library. So really quick, easy steps. So now our last section is going to be our notifications. You're going to find notifications help and settings portion on the landing page. The notifications bell is where you will see the latest news and updates. Also, you have the help program training and technical support feature. Under the question mark, you will have access to on-demand training. The program training takes you to mysavvastraining.com, where you can find on-demand trainings to support you. Next is the person icon, where you can access the settings. Under settings, you can make modifications to your account. You can also link your account to Google Classroom. We will talk about that later in the presentation. You can also access additional programs. Click on My Programs, and you will see a list of programs where you can click on and save them to your platform. Now you know about the landing page and the key components. Now it's time to think about how you can integrate with SAVVAS content into your instructional design.
Thank you, Shamel. So we are going to talk about integrating how we're going to use SAVVAS with our curriculum frameworks. We want to remember SAVVAS is a support or resource for teachers to help teachers meet the systems 1 and 3 during distance learning. So we want to make sure we're meeting system 1, standards and curriculum implementation, system 3, collaboration, planning, instructional practices for deeper learning. Instructional design tools that you will be using while planning and using SAVVAS as a resource. Using your JCPS curriculum frameworks, your JCPS instructional frameworks, and our K-5 instructional frameworks is being created by our K-5 literacy team to reflect what each piece should look like during distance learning. So that is coming. Your standards deconstruction and unit planning. You have Think Circa for my 3rd through 5th grade. And always remember with Think Circa, those specific modules are linked in the frameworks for you. So we've went in and given Think Circa our standards for that module, our compelling question and broader topic, and they've pulled Think Circa has pulled modules that match our modules, so you don't have to do that search yourself when you're planning your unit. And today we'll share how you can use SAVVAS as a resource when planning a unit using the frameworks during distance learning. And here's a conceptualized holistic curriculum for ELA. We have our reading and writing. Of course, with reading, your independent reading, text sets, closed reading. Our student is in the middle of this. And then we have writing, writer's notebook, writing to learn, writing to demonstrate learning, process writing and performance task, and speaking and listening, which is part of both pieces. Our planning tools that we will be using to get to instruct our students we're going to be using the JCPS instructional framework, our Kentucky standards, JCPS curriculum frameworks, and Think Circa. And here's kind of what it looks like during the week. You've got your guided purpose, and these are all asynchronous. You have your instructional mini lessons that you're developing using the curriculum frameworks, your standards, and pulling in your resources from SAVVAS, independent work, and then you have a time to reflect and evaluation with students. Offer an asynchronous way for students to reflect on or demonstrate learning. You may do this by using a Google form, Jamboard, exit ticket, notebook entry. And then we have our synchronous, where we have our whole group, guided reading, and focus groups, and also giving time for reflection synchronously. I've added a SAVVAS support sheet here. This is ELA standard quick link. It shows the correlation with our standards and SAVVAS. Kathleen, I don't know, can you click on one of those links?
Sure.
Just so they can get a look at what it looks like. So this is my view, and it's the correlation of standards. And will you scroll down just, I think, a couple of pages? Yeah, and so here it'll show you our Kentucky academic standards, and then it's their view, what you can find in their teacher resource or student resources that match those standards. Thank you, Kathleen.
No problem.
So those are linked K5 for you. Thank you. And the tools. So of course you're going to be using your curriculum frameworks to do the planning. And then you're going to pull in SAVVAS as a resource. All right, Kathleen, thank you. So for our example today, we have pulled Module 2, Unit 2, second grade. And at the top, we have those standards that we want you to be using when you're planning. And then you have a view of our compelling questions and our suggested pairings. And then we bring in and pull in SAVVAS as a resource. And so what we're going to show you today, Shamel is going to show you by looking at our second grade standards, looking at those compelling questions. She's going to show you how to create a playlist by pulling resources from SAVVAS to help with the planning.
All right, thank you. So let's think about this playlist. So earlier I spoke about creating a playlist. And when you create a playlist, you are adding information into, I'll say, an electronic filing cabinet. The cabinet is called My Library. And in this library, you create playlists of different resources. So I'm going to share with you some of the resources that you will know how to create that playlist that supports your students' understanding of the standards. So first, let's start off with foundational skills. So there are foundational skills for students in kindergarten to fifth grade. For the K-2 students, you will see phonics and phonemic awareness to support students in their acquisition of language. The lesson has a focus, a model, and a practice, and guess what? Also an application piece. For the 3 to 5 students, you will see lessons that support their understanding of how words work. There is a focus, model, and practice and application section in the lessons. This is all an opportunity for explicit practice. Now, when we start looking at the text, each text is supported with mini lessons to help students unpack the genre and the text. The text is broken down over a series of days to help students gain a deeper understanding of the vocabulary, the author's words, and the structure of the text. There is a mini lesson focus for each day, and students are reading the same text multiple times for different purposes. Lesson 1 helps students to gain an understanding about the genre of the text. And lessons 2, 3, and 4, they're organized around the same text, but have different notes for each day. Lesson 2 has first read notes. Then the lesson 3 has underlined close read notes. And then lesson 4 has highlight close read notes. Students have an opportunity to unpack the text with the teacher's support. And then by lesson 5, students have time to reflect, share, and compare what they've learned. The lessons are all mini with the focus, model, and practice and application all embedded within each lesson. Next, for each text, you're also going to see resources that provide small group supports for students. Progress to the next slide. Thank you. You will notice intervention activities from the My Focus intervention and other options like strategy group lessons. So right now, I'm going to take you live so that we can talk about making that playlist. We're going to think about how you can make a playlist for that second grade Unit 2 and think about the compelling topic of characteristics of leadership. I want you to think back to the resource that Dominique shared in terms of that document where you can look for the alignment of your standards. So Kathleen, is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Thank you. All right, let me know if you can see the Realize site.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So earlier I spoke about looking at the browse, the classes, and the data. Here it is. I'm right live on the screen. I'm going to go under browse, and I'm going to pull up second grade. I'm looking at second grade right now, and we're thinking about that compelling topic of the characteristics of leadership. And so when I looked at the alignment document, I said, you know what? There's this really great story within Unit 1. It's going to be week 2. And I'm going to pull up that story. So first I clicked on the unit, and now I'm going into the week. So here's week 2, and here are all of the lessons that I talked about. So I can go into each lesson and think about what I want to pull out to create that particular playlist. So I'm going to go into lesson 1, and I'm going to scroll down. I'm thinking about what resources would I want students to have access to, and I'm looking through. And you know what? We've been working on short vowel sounds, so I'm going to pull a few games. So we have short A, long A, and then short I and long I. I just clicked on 2 resources. Now I'm going to put those resources into a playlist. So I'm going to create a new playlist right now, and I'm going to call it Characteristics of Leadership. And now I'm going to click, oops, I need to check my spelling. So now I can create a playlist. So now my playlist has been created. I'm going to close it out. I'm going to go into lesson 2, and I'm going to pull the resources that I want for a lesson from this lesson to help my students with the characteristics of leadership. We're going to think about those compelling questions to help guide our instruction. And so we're going to pull the shared reading, the vocabulary, and the check for understanding. Now I'm going to add those selected to a playlist. And now I can look for my playlist because I already made it. And now I'm going to click add. So I can continue looking through the various lessons in order to support students and their understanding. So I'm going to go right to that playlist now. And you will see that here I have pulled those resources from the Unit 1, Week 2, that will support with a compelling topic. So I can continue going through this process, adding in to different resources from different days in order to support students. Now I can do something else really quickly. I just want to pull up, I'm back at the library. I can go ahead and click, let's see, I can go onto my search feature, and one of our texts is about Helen Keller. And I can look under the search feature right here on the screen, and I can type in Helen Keller. And see, when I look, I search, I say, well, no results were found under Realize. But then there's this really cool site that says Open Ed Results. So I can click Open Ed Results, and now I can find other resources. I can look through and see what resources I might want to add to my playlist. So I can click on any resource, copy the link, come right back to my library and click add a link. I can put in my URL and I can put name, Helen Keller video, and now I can add it. So this quick video was added to my library. I can also add it right into my playlist that I've just designed. So right now I can add to my playlist, search for it, add it, and I can now have my link to my Helen Keller video. All of my different resources are right there in my library. So that's one way that you can continue looking, using the alignment document, going into the platform, creating a playlist that will support you with your unit. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn it over to you, Kathleen.
All right, let me get my closed captions turned back on. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how you can integrate SAVVAS into your Google Classroom. Over here for a second. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my screen back. All right, so teachers can access SAVVAS what they're first going to do is they're going to navigate to Clever from the JCPS Quick Links folder on their Chrome browser. And then once you go to Clever, the next thing you will do is you scroll down just a little bit and you will be able to see the SAVVAS EasyBridge link underneath the district application. So, yes?
I don't see your screen. I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
Okay.
It looks like the viewers can see it on YouTube, so I'm not sure.
That's fine.
Okay. I was trying to adjust it on YouTube so we can see everything, and it looks like they're okay there. All right. So once teachers get into Clever, they will then scroll down to where it says District Applications, and then you can see where the arrow is. You're going to click on the SAVVAS link. And from there, the next box that pops up will look like the one above, and teachers are going to make sure to click on SAVVAS Realize. It's the third box on the far right corner. So make sure you click on SAVVAS Realize, and then the next window that opens up is going to appear and prompt you to add your classes. So you want to make sure that we're clicking Import Classes from Google Classroom. From there, you want to make sure that you click on your JCPS account. So here you see Matthew Bulka. We're going to click on that account, and then you're going to have to allow SAVVAS Realize to work within your Google account. You may have to scroll down to where you can see that blue Allow button. And then after you have linked your Google account, you're next going to see a list of all of your active Google Classrooms. So you want to make sure that we add SAVVAS Realize programs to our classes. And keep in mind when you're doing this, you can only add the programs to one class at a time. So for example, if you click where it says example, it will then drop down to where you can select your different Google Classrooms. So here you can see the picture of all the programs that you would have added, and then the list of the programs that if you decided to add to a particular Google class. All right, so after you have added those programs, you can see that they are imported. At the very bottom, you're going to want to make sure you click on that Finish and View Classes when you've imported all of them into your classroom. So you have that green Imported button, and then you click on Finish and View Classes. And when they've been imported, you're going to see them underneath the Classes tab, just like Shamel talked about a little earlier. And there are several options for the classes from there. Just a couple which she hit on are you can view the assignments for the class as well as the calendar view. You can also hide old classes if you don't want to see them, but you wish to keep that information there. And then you have the Import Google Classes button on the far bottom right. So how do you add assignments? The first time that the assignments are added, the very first view teachers are going to see is they will click on this assignments button. And then the next view, they are going to click on that link that says explore your programs. Now, again, this is for that first view. If you've already done this step, you probably will not see these screenshots. You're going to click on Browse, so the same Browse button that Shamel was speaking about earlier, and then you're going to select the program that you want to add to your Google Classroom. So we're going to find the content that we want to add, and you can view that content either in the thumbnail or the list view. So that's very important as well. If you're reviewing these slides and it doesn't look the same as yours, you may have a thumbnail view, or the list view. And then once you have found the assignments that you want to use, you're going to want to click on the little button that says Assign. And this will add it to your Google Classroom. And before it adds, you will then want to edit the title and give it a start date. And then also over on the far right where it says Enter a Class, if you start typing the name of your class, it will populate and you will be able to click on your class. And it'll show up green just like this. And then you're going to click on Assign. And that is how you will assign assignments to your students in Google Classroom. So when you click on the Assignments tab, after you've assigned them, you can see whether the completion of the entire class or by student, and Shamel spoke about that. But the part that I really want to point out here is when you are underneath Assignments by Student, you can see whether or not the student has clicked on the SAVVAS assignment in their Google Classroom by whether it says needs to connect or connected. So that's very important that for teachers to know. When you click on assignments by student, you can see each individual student in your class and whether or not they've connected to Google Classroom, or excuse me, to SAVVAS through Google Classroom. The next thing I want to point out is if you have co-teachers in your Google Classroom for your different Google Classrooms, they're going to have the same permissions that you do in your SAVVAS classes. So remember, teachers sign into SAVVAS through Clever. Students access SAVVAS through Google Classroom. So you can even have your co-teachers to help you with assigning different assignments to students. The next part that we're going to talk about is how you access assignments with SAVVAS in the Google Classroom. So for students, what they're going to see when they sign into their Google Classroom and they click on the classwork tab, they will see the different assignments as you see here. And once they click on parallel lines, for example, they're next going to click on the green SAVVAS Realize parallel lines. After they do that, it's going to redirect them to a new page and it'll count them down. I think it's 10 seconds, or they can click on Take Me There Now. From there, they're going to have to do the same thing that the teachers did. They're going to have to select their name and then allow permissions for SAVVAS to access their Google account. So this should only have to be done once, but just a reminder for teachers that your kids will have to do that. And then once the SAVVAS has launched, they are ready to set up their account. They're going to click on their language. Oops. They're going to click on their language, and then from there, they can pick a profile icon. And the same thing for the teachers. You can go through this as well. Pick a profile icon, and then the background that they want to have for their homepage on SAVVAS. And then after they've done those few steps, they're going to click on Let's Go. All right, so that's pretty easy for just a few steps for the kids that they have to go through as well as teachers. And then the last part that we're going to talk about is how to turn in work with SAVVAS in the Google Classroom. So students are going to access their assignments in Google Classroom like we spoke about a minute ago. And once they click on that SAVVAS Realize, they will go into their assignment. And then students can find their assigned work also on the home screen as well. So when they click on the green link, it'll take them to a screen like the one you see here, and students can click on their assignments, and then below it'll show them all of their assigned work. So a couple different ways. And much like the teacher, students are able to add comments on their work, and then but after the students complete their work, they're going to want to click on that Turn In button. And earlier, Shamel spoke about having the ability to attach a file. So that's what the students can do here. They can attach from their computer or their Google Drive, and then they would click on Turn In. Next, it's going to prompt them. Are you sure you want to turn it in? Yes, they want to turn in. And then once they have turned in their assignments, they're going to see a green box with a little check mark next to that assigned work. So that's how they can verify that they've turned it in to their teacher. Okay, and then grading work with SAVVAS in Google Classroom. So this is the last part, excuse me. For teachers, we talked about how you can add a comment on the work for the students. You can review and score the assignment. But one thing that we wanted to point out, that assignments that are, as students complete their assignments, that are automatically graded in SAVVAS, it's going to automatically turn them in through Google Classroom. So that's something to point out for our teachers. And then lastly, we have a SAVVAS tip sheet for you. And this is linked here. So you have the presentation. I put it in the chat. You can click on our schedule and then the elementary ELA. And you'll be able to click on that SAVVAS tip sheet. And we have different tips. They're listed there for you. There are videos that we've made thus far, as well as resources. So that's something for the teachers and schools to have. And that's all that I have, ladies. I'm going to check the chat real quick to see if we have any questions. Let's see. Amy had a question. Can you browse and create content as a playlist in SAVVAS first, so everything is ready before you go into assign?
Oh, yes, you can create content within your playlist. So you can add, you can make a new playlist. It's right on the left-hand side of your page. You can create that playlist and add any documents or links that you want to your library first.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think Chris saw that he answered that as well. And then Amy had another question. Are suggested resources from SAVVAS going to be added to the ELA curriculum framework, similar to what has been done with Think Circa?
Yes, when I get my 2 ELA coaches from SAVVAS, we're going to work together to create kind of like a crosswalk for teachers so that they will have that to help with planning.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dominique and Sandra, and thank you, Shamel, so much for being here with us today. This was your elementary ELA episode, and then this afternoon at 12:30 we'll be back with our elementary math episode. So we look forward to everyone here joining us again. Also, remember that the slides to this are posted on the schedule that has been linked in the chat, and the slides will also be on our YouTube channel below this recording. So this has been recorded, and I will get that up on our channel as soon as I can. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.